Welcome to No Fun Channel. I'm Felix, and this is sci-fi shows I think they should remake. Next up is Earth Final Conflict. Earth Final Conflict premiered October 6, 1997, and ran until May 20th, 2002. It stayed on the air for 5 seasons, 110 episodes. This is actually a Gene Roddenberry production. After he passed away in 91, his wife, Majel, had notes of shows that he was working on. One of them was called Battleground Earth, and the other one was Andromeda. The reason they changed the name from Battleground Earth to Earth Final Conflict was because of a movie that came out around the same time. The movie was called Battlefield Earth. For those of you who don't know, Majel was actually the first number 1 in the pilot episode of Star Trek. She basically played an unnamed character just titled Number 1. She was the first officer on Star Trek, and they didn't like a woman being first officer, so they got rid of her. But now the character has come back in Strange New World, played by Rebecca Remake. And those of you who also know, she did leave Star Trek altogether. She went on to play Nurse Chapel, which is now played by Jess Bush on the same series, Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And most of you probably know her from Star Trek Generations and Deep Space Nine. And of course, she's also most famous for being the voice of the computers on Star Trek. Earth Final Conflict, for whatever reason, had a lot of lead actors. What I mean by that, each season it seemed like there was a new lead actor. In the first season, Kevin Kindler played William Boone, companion protector and resistance agent. The character William Boone was only in there for season 1, but did return, I want to say season 4, and then was later killed off screen. He had a sidekick played by Lisa Howard, Lily Marquette. She was the shuttle pilot and a resistance agent. Now, she ended up staying for 2 seasons and became reoccurring in season 3 and 4. Vaughn Flores, who played Ronald Sandoval, he was a companion protector. And he's the only one who was on the show for all 5 seasons. And then there was Richard Chavallo. I think I said that right. He played Marcus Devereaux. Now, I probably butchered that last name. But he was the resistance hacker. Now, he stayed for the first 3 seasons and became reoccurring in season 4. And then there was Lenny Parker. She played Dahan. I can't remember how to used to say that name. It was weird. She was the companion, or the Talons. The aliens were named Talons, but they mainly referred to them as the companions. And she was on there for 4 seasons. David Hemblin, who played Jonathan Doors, the resistance leader, and also a businessman who, in the open, supported the companions, but obviously behind closed doors, he didn't like them. He thought they were up to something. He was there for the first 3 seasons, became reoccurring in season 4, and I believe they also did the same thing with him. They killed him off screen. Anina La Salva, I'm probably butchering that name too. She was Zor, a companion / Talon. She technically was there for all 5 seasons. The reason I say technically is because in season 1, she was reoccurring. Season 2 and 3, she was a main cast member. But in season 4 and 5, she went back to reoccurring. Then we have Robert Leeshock. He showed up in season 2, taking Kevin's place, and he played Liam Kincaid. And he was there for 2, 3, and 4. And in season 5, he became reoccurring. And again, I think they killed him off screen as well. It became a running thing. It's like they would... By season 4 and 5, it was like they were killing everybody off screen. Jane Heitmeyer, as Renee Palmer, she played a companion business liaison and a resistance agent. In case you hadn't noticed, a lot of these, they were human. There's a good chance they were also a resistance agent. I think Ronald Sandoval was the only one who wasn't a resistance agent. Now, she shows up in season 3, and I think by season 4, she's the lead. And of course, she's the lead in season 5. So yeah, she showed up so she was there at the end, 3, 4, and 5. And this is what I was saying at the beginning, where they keep switching leads. I don't know what the deal was with that. Melinda Dinas played Juliet Street. She became the new Resistance hacker after Marcus left, and she was there for season 4 and 5. Jelaine Senog played Judah, an Avitus warrior. I can't remember if that's how they pronounced it in the show. The Avitus were a combination of the Talons and another alien race. And to be honest with you, it was kind of weird. They combined them together to form this new alien race who were horrible. I felt like they ran out of ideas at this point. But she shows up in season 5. Then Alan von Sprague, he played Howland, another one of those aliens. And also, Madrigal was also on the show. She played Dr. Julianne Bellman, and she was an expert in implanting alien technology in people, and also a resistance agent. She was part of the main cast in season 1, reoccurring in season 2 and 3, and then they just wrote her off. In fact, I don't think they talked about her anymore after season 3. I don't even think they killed her off. Now, like I said, I don't usually list the whole cast, but in this case, I kind of had to in order to show you my point about how they switched out the lead character every chance they got. I don't know if the actors just wanted out or what was going on. But every time you turn around, it seemed like there was a new lead actor or a new actor taking the place of another actor, and it's all new character. So yeah, it got kind of confusing. Like I couldn't even remember the name of the other aliens that was supposed to be their enemy. I believe they were the Durillians, and I got the feeling they were supposed to be like the Romulans and the Vulcans because they were supposed to be cousin aliens that split off and became 2 separate species. Of course, like I said, they came back together and formed that new alien race, and it just didn't work out because they were mean and nasty aliens, and honestly, it felt like they ran out of ideas by that time. And this was a syndicated show. One of the things I've said about syndicated shows is a lot of times you can tell they were just there to be there, and it was a paycheck. And even with bad syndicated shows, you can get a lot of seasons out of them, especially if you're making any kind of money off of them. And the production value a lot of times is low. But on this, I didn't get that sense. It's like they really put the time in and like I said, it's a Gene Roddenberry show. And if you want to go to the formula of Star Trek where they do put the time and energy into making these shows, that's what it felt like. Like they actually took their time and made the show. At least in I'll give you the first 2 seasons. Season 3, it felt like it was coming apart. Season 4, it got a little convoluted. And season 5, it's like they gave up. So yeah, I still remember this show. You can actually watch this show on Roku, so it is available out there to watch. I don't know if it's available anyplace else. I just know it's on Roku. But it was an interesting show. You know, basically, the Talons show up on Earth. They show up as peace ambassadors. Basically, they're here to help the human race, when in reality, they have ulterior motives. And I can't remember what the other motives were. I don't remember it being that clear, actually. The character Jonathan Doors doesn't like him. He thinks something's off about him. But William Boone's Kevin Kindler, I don't know. I can't say his last name. William Boone, he didn't trust either side, actually. He felt something was off about the Resistance, and he felt something was off about the aliens. So he was on guard. He didn't trust either one. And at times, it kind of felt like he was trying to play both sides against the middle. And I kind of liked that about the character, which is why I was disappointed when they killed the character off. When they brought in Liam to replace him, I didn't like that character. They had the character being kind of arrogant. And it was weird how they brought him in, too. He was a baby. He started off as a baby, and then he became an adult. And it's like all in one episode. It was weird. He was actually like an alien human hybrid, I believe, or something like that. And I just didn't like the character. I just did not like the character. And then they brought in Renee Palmer, and again, I actually didn't like her character either. They seemed more arrogant. Both characters were arrogant. And they were putting it, well, especially with Liam. I liked Renee's character more than Liam's character. Liam, he was born and he took over the Resistance, basically. He was basically like the Resistance leader. He was barking orders and stuff. And technically they didn't call him the leader, but it was weird how they just brought him in. He just took the place of William Boone's character. It's just like that. How and everyone just trusted him. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. And then they brought in Renee character in season 3, and I actually didn't like her character either, but I liked her character more than Liam's character, which is why I think they switched her to the lead. And if you look at stock photos, advertisements for Earth Final Conflict, when she shows up, she's always up front. So that tells you they made her the lead. But yeah, when season 5 rolled around and they switched aliens, it felt like they just gave up. They didn't know what to do anymore with the Talons. So that's actually one of the reasons I chose this show. Like I said, in season 1, it seemed like it was going somewhere, and it just fell apart. So, one, I would actually recast everyone, simply because this show went off the air in 2002. Everyone's much older, and it basically got an ending. So, the reason I would redo this show is to fix the story. Like I said, season 1, it had a story. By season 2 and 3 and 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5, it was just like, where are you going with this? And honestly, I didn't feel the run up to season 5 was done right. It was just like, for me, it almost felt out of the blue. Season 5, the Talons are dying, the other aliens are dying, let's put them back together. It was like, it just felt wrong. And I think if they flushed the story out, almost like Babylon 5, where they had it planned out from season 1 to season 5. If they went back to the beginning and did it like that, flushed the story all the way out to season 5, I think they could have an awesome storyline here and keep the character William Boone. I don't know if they can find another actor like Kevin, but I think Kevin did a great job as William Boone. There was something about the character I really liked. He wasn't overly arrogant. He played like he didn't know things were going on, even though he knew what was going on. He knew how to play both sides. He knew not to trust both sides, which is one thing I liked. But by season 2 and 3, they kind of had like the resistance was the only answer. And I think by season 4 and 5, it was just Renee was the resistance. I think she had a few people that were still part of resistance, but overall, there was no more resistance. And it just got weird. And I do remember when they had Lily, Lisa Howard's character, leave. She got shipped into space. Ronald Sandoval, played by Von Flores, shipped her into space. And then they had her come back with a baby alien. She had the baby of another alien. And it was just weird. It made no sense. And that's why I said by season 5, it just fell apart. I don't know what was going on or what they were thinking. But yeah. So I would definitely like to see the show get redone, but flush the story out. Like I said, use Babylon 5 as an example where they had it flushed out from season 1 to season 5. Keep the main character. Don't keep switching out the lead character. Unless that was supposed to be part of the storyline showing that anyone can be killed off, I felt like it wasn't done well. Because you don't just kill a character off and then fill in with another character. There has to be some kind of transition. They got to bring someone else in. They could have brought in someone else. Like one way they could have introduced Liam's character is he was another agent, but not necessarily a resistance agent, but a companion who they could have had him be more like Ronald Sandoval's character. And they could have had Lily having to work around him and trying to manipulate him. And then come to find out he doesn't agree with the companions and they bring him on board. They could have worked it out that way, like the second season or something like that. That probably would have worked better. Like I said, I got an arrogant feeling from the character, which is, I'm not a big fan of arrogant characters. Because a lot of times they don't play them right. They don't just come off as arrogant, they come off as a-holes. So it's like, I really don't like this character. But yeah, that's one way. But redo the story and flush it out. Go back to the notes that Gene Roddenberry had. Flush the story out more. So that way you have a beginning, middle, and end. And if the whole storyline was that the aliens were supposed to come back together, maybe write that a little better. Because, like I said, by season 5, it felt like they just gave up. Like, this is final season. We quit. We give up. But yeah, and honestly, I don't hear a lot of people talk about Earth Final Conflict. Definitely don't see a lot of people cosplay Earth Final Conflict. There's not really much to cosplay really in this. They didn't really showcase the other aliens that often. They popped up here and there. I think it was a popular show at its time, but after it went off the air, it just became one of those shows that people put on their list of forgotten sci-fi shows. And really, it is a forgotten sci-fi show. It wasn't horribly bad. Like I said, season 1 to me felt great, which is how they got to season 2. And I think they had such high ratings from season 1 that it carried over to season 2. And, sometimes, like I said, with syndicated shows, you can get away with bad ratings. If this was a network show, it probably would have got canceled a long time ago. I do have good memories of the show overall. I would like to see the show come back. The special effects for the time were good for the time. And I would love to see this show have the story told correctly, cleaner, more fleshed out. And like I said, if the characters were supposed to be rotated out like that, do a better job of it. Write it better. Get rid of the fact that Liam was born and pretty much took over the same day. And if Gene Roddenberry didn't write it originally to have the aliens come back together, ditch that storyline. You can still have the Talons are dying, but have it in a different way. Something different. But overall, definitely would love to see the show come back in some form. Now, another way I could see the show come back actually is the aftermath. Once all the aliens are gone, what did the humans do with the technology? So they could do it that way. Now, that aspect, it could bring back all the characters. All the actors that are still alive. A couple of them have passed away. I think 3 of them have passed away. So they could bring everyone back who wants to come back and just pick up the aftermath. Or, what happened? What did the humans do with the technology? What happened to the rest of the Talons that didn't merge back together? What happened to the other aliens? So on and so forth. So that is another way to bring it back. But I still like the first way, where they redo the story, flesh it out, and retell the story. But like I said, the other option is to bring it back where it left off and just have the story continue from there. What's going on with the technology now? What happened to all the aliens? Something of that nature. Now, that's my take on Remaking Earth: Final Conflict.